Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Elizabeth McGowan Training Institute at Morningside Ministries. We now call ourselves mmlearn.org because it's the easiest way to remember who we are and to be able to find us on the internet for training. I want to welcome each and every one of you and tell you that today in San Antonio, I hope when you're watching this, it's cooler where you are because it's a very warm, muggy day. So whatever day you're watching this, I hope the weather's better for you. Today we're going to be talking about ethics and aging. And some of the topics we're going to cover are research, driving, gambling, and sexuality. And you can only guess with so many topics. We won't be able to go really into depth doing that. But we're very excited you're with us, and I think it's a very important and very timely topic for us to be talking about. If you do have cell phones and pagers, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and turn those off. I know you're watching this from a distance, but the truth is sometimes you're in a room with other people and it can be disturbing. For those who are sitting here with me, there's no problem. If they need to take a call, they can step outside and do so. There's no disclosures to make at all today, so I'm going to just run through these and let you know that there is no conflict of interest in anything that we're presenting today. We're not doing any endorsement of products, and we have no off-label use in this program. The objectives you can read later and go back and look at our PowerPoints, and I wanted to make you all aware that this program has not been approved for continuing education for nurses, social workers, or nursing home administrators, but it's going to be changed up just a little bit. There'll be some things that are going to be added, and it will be made available within the next month for contact hours. So if you're interested in that, let us know, and if you'd like more information, it'll be online, but you can always contact us at info@mmlearn.org. Today I'm your presenter, and my name is Maria Wellish. I am a registered nurse, and I'm also a licensed nursing home administrator. And also, I think because of the topic we're going to talk about today, I'll also tell you that I'm a certified assisted living manager because many of the problems and issues that we have to deal with are as fundamental to assisted living as they are to long-term care, as they are to the community. And I serve at Morningside Ministries as their Vice President of Corporate Education, so we're just delighted that you're with me today. If you want to ask a question at any time during the program or to make a comment, I encourage you to click on the little bubble in the upper left-hand corner at the top of your screen, and you can ask a question. And we love knowing where we're being watched and how many are watching us. So just let us know that you're even out there, because it's a very small class with me today, and it makes it fun for us to know who's on board. So tell us a little bit about you. You don't have to use the bubble. If you're in a large class, you can write it on a piece of paper and give it to a facilitator. And you can phone in the question at area code 210-734-1222. And please know that if for some reason we get tied up with time and I can't get back with you with the questions, we're absolutely delighted to answer these, and we try to get back to you within 72 hours with an answer. You do that by just clicking on the bubble again. It sends us an email right to our address, and we'll return and get you the answer that you have. So we look forward to those questions, and we get a lot after most of these presentations. Before I begin, and before I even address the topic of ethics, I want to tell you that very seldom do we deal with ethical considerations alone. You have to think of yourselves as being a team. And when we think about that team, those of us in the medical environment always think about ourselves as being part of an interdisciplinary team. So we're thinking of ourselves as being nurses, doctors, social workers, clergy. But I want you to know that many times these decisions are guardians of family members or guardians that are out in the community that have been given this responsibility. They include the psychologist, they include the family doctor, and we can never leave out the family members as part in getting more and more information to make good decisions. So I think this picture is really good. It really encompasses and helps remind us we're not all alone when we're involved in these very difficult decision-making processes that are going to face us. Before we begin, I think it's imperative to know, especially if you are a licensed professional, that you must remember that you have a code of ethics that you work under. So if you are a physician, you're a nurse, you're a social worker, I don't have up here all the logos of all the organizations that guide us. But I want you to know that we must remember that we must be true to our own code of ethics for the profession that we're representing when we're on a ethics committee. I'm going to make a point here, and I think it's a very important one, about not forgetting, and I'm going to use nurses in this case, but the American Nurse Association has a code of ethics, and this is a guideline that is considered non-negotiable, and it supersedes the policies of an individual organization in regards to nursing practice and ethical decision making. This is not different for social workers. This is not different for physicians. This is not different for clergy. Our code of ethics will always supersede what an organization decides as their policies and procedures. It doesn't mean that they can't be co-joined and we can't find a way that we work together. But I want you to know that you have to be true to your ethical and the code that guides your profession. Other professional disciplines, as it says, are guided and held by these, but I put a link on this one for nurses because that's who usually joins us the most. And if you click on any of these links, you'll go immediately to this. And also on the top bar is a little, it looks like a paper clip. And if you click on that, again, you'll be able to go and find any of these links. We put them up there for you. This was really interesting because when I went on to this link, I even found things on here on guiding nurse ethics in polypharmacy and other things. So take some time, and I think many of us get so involved in our professions, we sometimes forget to go back and review our code of ethics that guide us. So I'm going to start with a case study, and then we're going to move from there. So let me just read this to you. That Miss Landry is an 88-year-old woman, and she was recently admitted to an assisted living facility, and she has a mild cognitive impairment. She's very high functioning. She's recently lost her husband, and the family is really looking for her to have more interaction with other residents. They're looking forward to her participating with activities, and this is a woman who's been very lonely. Mr. Smith is also a resident in this facility. He's 92 years old, and he is a married resident. And his wife does not live in the facility with him. She lives out in the community. He's cognitively intact, and he's wheelchair bound. So this kind of gives us the background of the two people that we're going to be talking about. What's the issue? Well, the issue is that the nursing staff are beginning to note that Mrs. Landry and Mr. Smith are beginning to have more and more intimate touching, holding hands, even seen kissing each other on the cheek. Pretty innocent and as it looks, but there's some concerns, and the questions are around the staff are questioning the competency of Mrs. Landry to enter into any type of relationship, and the morality and the reaction that Mrs. Smith may have in regards to her husband's behavior and his own morality as he's proceeding. But remember, we're talking about somebody with mild cognitive impairment and someone else that we have determined is cognitively intact. So this is the case that we're going to look at in regards to sexuality. There are four basic ethical principles that are used to guide ethical decision making, and those are autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. And I love this picture in here because it's a guidepost or a signage for us for ethics. At no point do I want to tell you that I think ethical decision-making, ethical principles are easy to follow. This is a difficult problem for anybody who has to deal with it. But I hope by the end of today's presentation we have a different view. And I'm always bored when I go to programs about this, and I hope today I'm surely not going to bore you with these. But it's very important that we understand what these definitions mean. So let's talk first of all about autonomy. It's often referred to as self-determination, or the right to govern oneself, to freely choose one's action as long as these choices, and remember this, as long as these choices do not interfere with the autonomy or the rights of another person. So it's that self-determination, self-governance. And you might wonder where I'm getting these definitions from. And on the screen you see that I have a book called The Essentials of Gerontological Nursing. And this was written by a woman by the name of Meredith Wallace. It has a 2008 copyright. I think this gives some of the best information on ethical decision making, and it gives lots and lots of different case scenarios. So I just refer this to you because you may want to use it. I also want to give credit where credit is due also. In beneficence, we're talking about doing good or participating in behavior that benefits the recipient of care. Now, I want to be very clear here that when we talk about ethics, There are so many people involved in the ethics, but we have to remember who it is we're caring for and who is this decision making being made for.